Well, Marcus Ericsson joins us now, already with a win in the NTT IndyCar Series in 2021, and taking full advantage, Marcus, of the time off before we get back to action in Nashville. Tell my listeners where you're at right now.
I'm actually back in Europe. I'm in Spain at the moment, so getting a bit of time off, just seeing friends and family, and then flying back to the States later this month. So yeah, it would be nice to recharge for the second half of the year.
Is there anything on your hit list while you're back home that you'd like to do besides just visiting with friends and family?
No, not really. I think that's the main thing. Just haven't seen them. I haven't been in Sweden since January, so it's been a while. So just to see friends and family and enjoy some time with them, and then go back and get after it for the last six races.
All right, let's talk for a moment about this season because finally, in America, we call it getting off the schneid. And you did that with the Husky Chocolates car by scoring your first victory. So, how or has it in any way changed the way you approach the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it gives first win to get that out of the way is always big. So, but for me and for my whole crew, I think it's a great thing to get that first win out of the way. And that, we've just have been really strong in Road America, and then last weekend in Mid Ohio, my best qualifying in IndyCar with P3, and then a really really strong race. Almost getting Joseph there in the end, but still, finishing second was a great effort. So I think, like everyone would say, when you get that first win, it's just a big. It just does a lot. Winning is such a big difference to being second or third.
Look, your performance is one of those that reminds me of others that just kind of sneak around, don't abuse their equipment. But when it counts, and we certainly saw that at Mid Ohio, saw it in your victory, that you're there and you've got more, as I call it, stuff to be able to throw at whoever you're trying to pass in order to get the win. How would you describe your driving style?
I think my biggest strength is my racecraft and the way I can look after tires and fuel and everything. I try and think a couple of steps ahead all the time, and I think that's something that's really pays off in IndyCar, because IndyCar, it's one thing to be fast, but you need to be clever and be really strong in the races over longer stints to be able to win. And I think that's something that's been my strength all my career, but especially in IndyCar, the problem I've had is that I've been qualifying a bit too far back, so I haven't been able to show that racecraft as often as I would have liked. But I think now when I start to qualify a bit higher up and then sort of starting to unlock that piece of the puzzle, I feel like I've really started to show how strong I can be on race day. And I, like you say, I've been sort of under the radar a bit. Not many people has been noticing it, but I've had top tens on every road and street course this year, and I think that's a pretty impressive record, and gotta keep that going. And P5 in the championship now, it says a lot after 10 rounds.
Well, Chip Ganassi Racing certainly has a stranglehold on that chase for the championship. You and your teammates, and the strength of that team has only grown exponentially this season. But I want to go back to your racecraft for a second. After so many years, Marcus, of honing and polishing that type of racecraft, does it come naturally to you, or is it something that you actually have to think about, even if it's just for a split second or so?
I think it's something with my experience. I think my 5 years in F1 and all that, it's something I've learned a lot over the years and sort of perfected. But then of course you can never be, you always need to keep learning and keep pushing yourself, because otherwise someone else will become better than you, or other people will be better than you. So I think that's something I always, work very hard to try and always improve myself. And I have a great team around with my engineers, with Dario and with all these people that helps me as well, but it goes a lot down to experience, but also hard work, I would say.
I'm glad you brought up Dario, because Dario Franchitti being part of the, shall I say, mentoring. It's not that you need mentoring, but being there on the stand, not only for you, but for everyone else on the Ganassi team. What does he bring to the party?
He brings, yeah, a ton of experience and then
Hmm.
a mindset, and he knows how to win. And I think that's something that it's never bad to have that around. And then he's a good teacher as well. He always is very open and he always try and help. And I think he's been a big part of my improvement in this year. It's been bouncing stuff off Dario. It's been something I've been doing a lot, especially now the last couple of weeks. Me and Dario have had a lot of discussions how I can improve my qualifyings. And Darius, with all his experience and his career, he's helped me a lot there. And I think for me that's super valuable, to have someone like him to just help you, yeah, become a better racing driver, basically.
All right. So without giving away any trade secrets, you say Dario's been able to help you at least attack qualifying better. What's give me a little nugget that he shared with you that said, Marcus, you need to start doing fill in the blank.
Yeah, I think one thing that we've talked a lot about is the mindset going into qualifying and stuff like that, and the mindset over a race weekend. How do you approach a race weekend,
Mm.
and the practice sessions, what is important in the practice sessions, and stuff like that. We've been discussing a lot of things like that. And I think that was one of the things in mid Ohio that we tried to sort of focus more on just feeling in the car and then doing a lot of laps and getting everything sort of tick all the boxes and not focusing anything really on lap times until we got to qualifying, and then put all that they will learn in practice to use in qualifying to be able to qualify higher up. And I know it sounds easy maybe when you say it, but it's not, and I think
Yeah.
especially in a series like IndyCar, it's many times I've been 18th on the grid, but maybe a tenth or two would have made such a big difference. So we're talking small things, but I think that's stuff that Dario has a ton of experience of and can help with.
You alluded to the fact that your pedigree includes time in Formula One. People always want to know the differences between F1 and IndyCar. And let's face it, we're seeing more and more F1 expatriates deciding to take on a career in IndyCar racing. Can you explain to me what some of the differences are?
Yeah, I think from a driver perspective, what I loved about coming to IndyCar is just the fact that everyone's got a chance. The
Yeah.
one's big serious and a lot of good teams. But it's just the pure fact that you wake up in the morning and know that you can win the race, you do everything perfect. And I think that's something that, unfortunately, in F1, that's not the case. It's only maybe four guys and wake up and feel that, in race day in Formula One. And that's a bit of a shame. And I think that's why, people like me and Romain and Kevin as well, that's why we have enjoyed it so much, taking the step over to America and race here, because it's just to get that sort of feeling back is something I miss a lot. And then I think also, obviously the cars are very different. It's more old school type of cars, and they are tough to drive, but really, really fun to drive. And without the power steering, it's a very different
Yeah.
experience how to drive the cars. And like I said, I think it sort of brings me back more to how it was when I started racing, sort of thing. And then that's super fun.
You talked about Romain being the latest. So who's next? Who do you expect in
Yeah,
over the course of maybe, like, let's say next season, that decides to put his toe in the water in IndyCar?
it's a good question. I think, on top of my head, I don't really have a clear name. I would say maybe I hear rumors about Da Costa Antonio. He's not an F1
Really?
guy, but he's big star in Formula E and has been good in many different categories. And he would be great to see in IndyCar. I think from the F1 grid, I'm not sure which one or who I could think of there, but I know for a fact that IndyCar is getting more and more attention over in Europe, over in the F1 world, especially after like I said, I went over here, and then Roman as well. It's definitely a lot of people that's following it, and also I think thinking about it. Is this the move I want to do? So I wouldn't be surprised over the next couple of years to see more and more F1 drivers coming over.
All right, before I let you go, knowing that you're over there, have you been to the Huski Chocolates factory?
And I haven't been there. I just got back to Europe yesterday, actually. So, but we have some fun stuff that we're gonna do here when I'm back in Sweden. We're gonna do some good stuff for the rest of the year. So, and I'm gonna drink plenty of Huski chocolates. That'll be good.
Who hits you up the most in the series for some free Huski chocolates?
Who does what?
Who asks you for it? Who constantly is coming to you and saying, "Hey, let me have some samples"?
Yeah, pretty much everyone, to be honest. It's a lot of journalists, and then different drivers and stuff. And it's been a bit of a shame that we haven't been able to sort of have the products out more in the races. It's when Huski signed the deal with Ganassi and with IndyCar, we had a big plan to have them on all the races and have samples there for the fans and everyone. But then obviously COVID came and sort of made them plans a bit more difficult. But hopefully in the future that will happen, so everyone can enjoy some Huski chocolate on race day.
Yeah, and look, you don't need to give us journalists any chocolate. We're already too fat. Okay, we don't need that. Well, what we need is some diet supplements. Okay, as far as drivers and fans, I get it. Listen, enjoy your holiday back home, and we'll catch up with you coming up at Nashville in August, my friend. Thanks so much for joining me here inside the wind tunnel.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, have a great vacation, my friend. I'll see you in Nashville.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
you
have a good one. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.